Hello, I am Dylan Fernandez. I'm one of the designers on Heroscape, and I am here with someone who has been a staple of the Heroscape community for some time. Some of you may know him from the forums as Matthias Maccabeus. I've come to know him as Ken Williams. He was our head judge at Gen Con, and here he is. And we're gonna talk a little bit about how Gen Con went and what we're thinking for the future and some strategy and all that sort of thing. So, hey Ken.
Good morning, Dylan. It's a
Morning.
pleasure to be here.
Yeah, good to see you again after Gen Con. It was all a bit of chaos there because the con is always just so much going on, but you kept things in order and in ship shape, so we were happy to have you. Of
Yeah, I was happy to be there. Thanks for having me.
course. I guess let's just roll right into some of the questions we've got. So, looking back on Gen Con this year, I think it went super well. What would you say were some things that like stood out to you about the contemporary gameplay, especially during this year's like World Championships, the high level play with now a year under our belt releasing new Heroscape and Contemporary?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it was really diverse, which is what we were kind of going for. Obviously, I think we knew Queen Maladrex would show up quite a bit, and she did. But
Hmm.
even the way they complimented her was nice. We had tricksters, we had Oathborn exiles, we even had some bears. So I think it was just very diverse. I feel like the only things we really didn't see too much of was the pirates.
Mm.
As a whole, we saw exiles, but we didn't see
Right.
them as a whole. But I think we have to wait for Widow for that.
Yeah, Widow and
So
Dreadnoughts are really going to make the
yeah,
pirates sing, I think.
yeah.
Um,
So
But no, it was cool seeing we had the finals being Maladrix versus Maladrix, but it wasn't a mirror match. It was
correct.
Maladrix with Tanuki versus Maladrix with Q11, and that added made a really interesting dynamic.
And the acolytes.
And the Acolytes, of course. Love to see
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah,
What a
yeah.
what a funky little squad.
Yes, yes,
A different take on commons for sure.
100%.
Um, what were some like positive player moments and like sportsmanship examples that stood out to you during this? Because I know Heroscape has a reputation for being this very positive and sportsmanlike game as compared to some of the some would say sweatier competitive war games.
No, and I love that about Heroscape. We for years we've tried to keep like a PG 13 kind of atmosphere, and I think a lot of people when they come over from other games, they kind of get that sense, and maybe they come over with not that, and then they just kind of you know, for lack of a better term, join the fold,
Yeah.
and because it's just a nice atmosphere. And when we started running events, like it's dads and their kids coming, and some of those kids are now grown up, right? So and actually Nick, who won the championship, was a kid who came to Gen Con years ago with his dad, and now he's grown up and he won the championship. So it's kind of fun to watch, and we try really hard to keep that atmosphere. And once again this year at Gen Con, I thought it was great. I really did overall.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I love that part of the game. I've been playing since, I mean, the game came out when I was in middle school or high school, and so I've been playing since then. I would bring my dad to tournaments, and I was
mhm.
competitive in getting him into the scene, and that full support of this being a family game that anyone could really like lean into and get competitive with was great. I've actually started bringing my dad to tournaments again now,
Oh,
so
awesome. And
that's
and
been
now
cool.
I'm bringing my kids to tournaments when I go, so it's a lot of
Amazing.
fun.
See,
Yeah,
full
yeah,
circle.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that vibe, and I think you're good at maintaining that vibe in a tournament setting, which can be tough because it is a world championship, which puts some pressure on people, but you have a good disarming way about you going up to people and, reminding them what this game is about and what we're playing for. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and my kind of go to is, even though I know it's 14 now because of choking hazards, but this is a game for 8-year-olds. Is kind of what
Yeah.
I just try to remind people. Like, hey, it's a game for 8-year-olds. There's not like thousands of dollars on the line. We're here to have fun. Obviously, we want to win, but we're here to have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, we are 14 and up now, I guess. But
correct,
like if you're younger,
correct,
just be supervised. It's fine.
correct,
Um,
correct, correct.
I don't hold legal authority to say that. It's whatever.
Right.
Um, let's start talking about some more specifics about like armies and units that we saw in this championship. What were some armies that impressed you, and what do you think made them perform as well as they did?
Well, I think the Eisenach army was really set to do well in this format because it's kind of a swingy format with with low figure totals and low point totals and the lack of commons.
Hmm.
Well, we had commons, but not a whole bunch of them,
Not a
right?
lot of
We had
options
three.
for
We had
commons.
three to
Yeah.
choose from. So, and like Scavareth with the Vile Injection Scavareth combo, like was really set to battle Maladrex really well. So, I, so it's kind of a swinging format. Like if like an initiative switch can really do some damage to Maladrex, and I feel like that it was so the Isaacs. I guess for to answer your question, the Isaac, especially
Sure.
Scavareth. Because one of the armies I was looking at, had I been able to play, would have been Hellforge with the squad of acolytes instead of Scavareth, but I'm
Mm,
not sure that was the right call after watching everything. Because I felt like there was a couple Hellforge armies, but I felt like they just every time I watched them, they weren't getting the roles they needed with the
right.
D20. So
Hellforge with some Isonex snacks, or with some
acolytes
acolyte
next.
snacks
Yep,
is fun.
yep, yep.
Perpetual snacks is
Correct,
nice, a nice list.
correct.
Um,
So
what would you say were some like more unexpected or creative like builds or unit picks that you think outperformed based on how you thought they would be?
the Tanukis did better than I thought they would. There was one in the top 16. I can't recall who ran it, but he also brought Decker with the Tanukis.
Ooh,
And yeah, so the little Tanuki Aruki where you can push up Decker and then you could put an order marker on Decker, which is like what I like to call the X flex because you never know if it's the X or not. And then your
hmm.
opponent's got to kind of prep for whether or not he puts anybody in a straight row or not, right? Um, yeah,
I was
so
excited to see that in play because that was one of the things we had in mind when we were designing the Tanukis and Tanuki Aruki
right,
specifically, because I know Decker suffers from being a little hard to get into position to threaten those lines because he's great at threatening lines and disrupting your opponent's position, but he can be hard to get there. And so a rookie being able to sort of sneak him up the back to threaten was definitely one of the goals. So I'm glad to see it. There was also a fun, I think, seven Tanuki and
yes.
New Raylan list.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And just the fact, I think Raylan's kind of gives the Tanuki's kind of like a third damage output activation in an interesting way. But the other thing she does, if she jumps in and swoops and misses, they can kick away from her with
Yes.
their Nage Waza 9.
Hmm.
And there's an engagement strike. So
Yeah.
leave an engagement attack. So the Tanukis did impress me, and even with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes revealed, um,
That'll be fun.
they can also move them up, and then once again you got the Whirlwind Assault, and then you've got the Assassination. So once
Yeah.
again, that X flex on those characters can kind of make your opponent play differently.
We're working on the Joe stuff, trying to build a ninja core that could actually be a fun sort of playable army with Tanuki, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, Jinx and Kamakura, and even Shiori. Could be really fun because Shiori with Jinx and Kamakura, again, you get to just sort of leave that X marker on her and take those bonding turns. You get some fun
Right,
stuff going on there.
right,
Excited to
right,
see how that goes next year, which we can get to that question in a bit.
right.
Um, for now, I guess you looking at this as the head judge, sort of seeing all of these armies play out, and these players playing almost 100 players this year, or over 100 when you count the play-in
Over 100.
games.
Yep.
What were some common traits among the players who made it deep into the bracket, who qualified for day three? You know, those people who were able to push through all these games. What were some sort of common denominators in their play?
Well, a lot of them I knew from just the competitive scene in general. So once again, just repetition of games, going to tournaments, playing is really good. Another one is like just understanding like glyph, order marker, and threat management, and even board control. Not like you can see like a lot of rookie mistakes where somebody will take the wound glyph on turn one. The wound glyph
Mm,
doesn't do anything till the end of the round, so there's no
mhm.
sense going for it for turn three till turn three because a lot of times glyphs give up are in a disadvantageous spot, so you're going to
Right.
give up a negative position to get somebody get a good attack against you, or going for the move glyph when moving more doesn't really net them anything.
Mm,
So just things like that, as opposed to like guarding the glyph, you know,
right.
or even board control. Or a lot of times, like when you want to sit down, you want to know where you need to go on the map, and some of that is by repetition. Some of that is just being able to look at the map and say, okay, I know I need this position, or I know my opponent cannot get to this position, because if he does, I'm in trouble. And then it goes down to like high risk, high reward sometimes. And what I always say is you got to play to your outs. So like if you need to double disengage to get height on this guy to attack with 4, like you need to do that, because you're not going to win anyway. So
Mm,
like do that. It may not work, but if that's what you need to do to win, then go ahead and do that.
yeah.
So I think a lot of that kind of stuff, and even order marker management, especially with the lack of commons. I guess, I mean, Queen was pretty easy because she had honor guard and stuff, but like even with the lack of commons, you can't just pour all your order markers on commons, right? So
Mm.
so even the order marker management, when to switch order markers I mean, all that stuff plays into that.
Yeah, it's all the things that you pick up as you play competitively and get to
Right,
know it and
right.
get familiar with how Heroscape maps work in general and tournament maps specifically, and then the maps for a tournament pool as well and the glyphs that are in play. So I feel like a lot of people were either very familiar with that or learned quickly on the spot as they
Sure.
played some of these games. There were definitely some
Absolutely.
newer
Yep.
players who
Yep.
were pretty surprising, so that was fun.
Like Nick winning. I mean, he's been coming to Gen Con since we were running Heroscapers about in 2012. So I mean,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
been yeah. So he's been playing quite a bit.
Speaking of maps, how do you think this year's map pool impacted the like winning strategies for this year's tournament?
That's a good question. I got the question, does Maladrex fit here? I think over 60 times. So that
Yeah.
was that was a lot of fun. Um, but realistically speaking, I think they were a little bit smaller in general, just because the terrain sets, the Renegade terrain sets are just not like Rights of the Valkyrie was huge, right? I mean,
Rise of Valkyrie was
um,
massive. Yeah.
yeah, it was massive, and I mean, Underdark was smaller. Swarm of the Morrow was kind of in the middle. So I think uh, I think Renegades are more Swarm of the Morrow type, and then even the expansion. So they're a little bit smaller maps. So I feel like plus the smaller point totals, and like with Vial Injection, when in Scavareth able to battle surge, he can move 14 on. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like so. Just so I feel like the action started earlier, which generally I like, because I like games not ending on time. So,
Mm.
but I also think like there's a lot of jungle, which is always great for melee as they're developing up, and if they get
Mhm.
shot at, they get that extra bonus defense. Nice. So I think like next year when we get is the road set gonna be next year? I don't want to
Oh,
say
Road
I'm not supposed to.
Set's
Yeah.
coming out
Okay.
in like a couple weeks. Yeah, Road
Okay.
Set's
Oh,
very
okay.
soon. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's
okay,
November,
so
I
like
want
the
to say.
road set's 100%. Just I mean, like it's gonna
Okay.
add so many different nuances, and especially in Shadow too.
Mm,
So
hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
no, Shadow next year um is gonna really impact. Let's, you know what? I have this question for later, but since we're talking
Okay.
about terrain,
Okay.
between this year and next year's like store championships and Gen Cons, we'll have Road, we'll have Shadow, we'll have Toxic Land and Toxic Water. Um, how do you think those are going to impact our map pool and the strategies we'll need to see for next year's event?
Well, road and shadow. I mean, road helps melee quite a bit. Jungle already helps melee. We have that. Shadow helps everybody unless you're ginormous. Um, I think toxic water. You can do some interesting stuff with Tanukis, because you could kick them into lower defense and then attack, right? Like
Hmm.
or even chain grab with the Wraith Riders. So yes, so I think like that's got some interesting play, and then I see a lot of map makers putting that like as the highest, like
Yeah.
putting it on the highest level. So it's like, okay, is it worth going up there for the negative effects that it produces or
Toxic's going to
gives?
be an interesting alternative to Lava Field in map design for disincentivizing the highest height. So,
Correct. So yeah, so I think like a lot of the abilities that allow you to reposition units, or especially your opponent's units, is going to be interesting. So, and I think you're going to have to make a lot more, mm, I don't say precise movement decisions, but I guess you just have to pay attention more. Like, okay, well, he has these abilities. I'm going to try and move here, and then so it might be a little bit more mathy, I guess, for counting in terms of where you should go. But like, I think it's going to open it up for sure.
Mhm.
Um, and anytime you help, I'm obviously a big proponent of melee. So anytime you help melee with road, like I'm in. So, or even jungle, or not jungle, shadow, because I mean I know it offers a bonus to like no matter if they're adjacent or not, but just being able to push forward and get that extra defense dice just to last a little longer to slow roll out is really good.
Mhm. For those of you who aren't familiar, Ken is one of Heroscape's preeminent melee bonding players, with the Kenites specifically. So,
That's awesome.
hence the a fan of melee, which I understand. Melee is pretty rad. A lot of cool positioning stuff to work with in melee. What is some advice you would give to a first-time player who maybe just picked up Heroscape at Gen Con this year and wants to be ready to compete in the main event next year?
I mean, repetition for sure. There's lots of strategy articles like on the Heroscapers website, and actually on the Renegade website now.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah,
Ken.
yeah, no problem. But yeah, there's a lot of strategy, and the other thing is like just keep it simple. Like find something you like and play it, and keep playing it. Like just get better at it. Like you don't have to. What's great about like other games, I don't want to say their names, but you like to play something competitively, you're paying thousands of dollars to go. I mean, with Renegade, you can get that way cheaper to grab a competitive army and go play. Like
Yeah,
and that's like Queen Maledrix and the Festering Honor Guard, they're going to be solid for sure.
yeah.
um you know so but
I
I
think
would
you
say,
can
yeah,
play the
just
the top four Isonek army with two boxes plus a battle
correct.
box. So,
Yep.
there's definitely some ways in that are a good way to dip your toe, but still be pretty competitive. And then, of course, branch out from there. But
Yeah, and what's great about the Heroscape community, as we mentioned earlier, if you need to borrow something, just ask. They're going to let you borrow something. Like,
I've found that to be the case. It's a very generous community.
yeah, they're very genuine. Like even at Gen Con, when people forgot stuff, Renegade was like, "Oh, let me go see if I can find something for you and let you." I mean, I don't know how many different bears and Festering Honor Guards you guys lent out at Gen Con, but
Maybe a
uh,
few, maybe a few.
right, right.
I
So
know me and a couple of the contractors brought a bunch of our personal collections as well to
mhm,
loan out to people as needed. So we just
yeah,
want to, yeah, we want to be accommodating and make sure as many people can play this awesome game as we can.
right, right.
Um, what do you think are some more like underrated units that you think people could explore going into next year?
Oh well, with underrated, it's interesting because you just previewed all the chain wave, right?
Yep.
So I think like there's a
I see
lot of
which one you've latched onto in that arc.
right, but I don't know if I don't know if I would say any of them are underrated. I feel like that's a very strong wave.
Hmm.
Um, but like I think elites of Ular could be maybe like the ones that people might shy away from because in a 500-point army, you're only getting those three, Ziamara and I'm going to try and say it,
Yeah, that's what I've been
Mielki.
saying. It's Mielke.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, but that protection from the amulet and that heal from Mielke is really super interesting in a way to play. And and they're a little bit more of a finesse army, I think, than necessarily like just brute force like Fedoria order markers on the
Hmm.
you know on
They've
them
got a lot of
and
staying
push forward.
power. So
They do.
that's,
They do
yeah.
survive really well. So it's going to be interesting. I think that one could be underrated. It's going to do better in like a smaller figure limit.
Yeah.
Like for Gen Con this year, 14 figures. It probably would have done fairly well there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, but yeah, so I think like that would be one. As far as strategies to explore, I think we kind of discussed just a little bit about like the Tanukis with the X Flex on Storm Shadow or Decker or whatever.
Hmm.
And I think GI Joe's gonna even like with the battle copter and the
The
what
flight pod.
Flight Fly, thank you.
Yeah,
With the
yeah.
ability to reveal that X and use them for their
Hmm.
special abilities. So like that is a real X flex.
Yeah,
Um, so I think like that's gonna be like I think because shotgun blast is a real thing and the line is a real threat. So you have to always constantly be thinking about that. And they're what 35 points if I recall, which is really, I mean, for that X flexibility, like that's dirt cheap. Like I
yeah.
would 100% encourage that as especially as a filler. But even if you, I mean, I almost think it's worth building around in some aspects, and not even worth, but not wouldn't call it a filler necessarily. So yeah, I
Absolutely.
think a lot of that kind of stuff is going to be pretty interesting next year. It's hard for me to say underrated because like it hasn't been out really long enough for us to know if it's underrated. But I also think, and I don't think he's underrated at all, is Adelburn's going to show back up because you got a lot more commons coming,
More
and
for him to
Adelburn
squish.
loves to kill commons.
Yeah, I would definitely not consider Edelburn underrated, but
Correct.
strong in the right formats for sure. And if
Yeah,
there's going
yeah,
to be a
yeah,
lot of commons, that's
yeah.
the way to go. The points didn't really work out for him this year, but it'll be interesting to see next year. So I think I know your answer to this. If you were to be competing in Worlds next year, what is something your army would be likely to contain?
Oh, chain gruts. Not
Yeah, I
even
think.
close. It's not even it's not even a question. It would be chain gruts, and then depending on point totals, I'd probably go. I think Tuck is. I mean, I'm not a range guy, but Tuck bonding with the chain gruts is just phenomenal. I mean, Meadberg Saw has shown us that with the Romans and the Death Chasers. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, so I think Tuck with the chain gruts for sure, and then depending on point totals, I think Ramessars are great. I think Kane is great. I think Decker's phenomenal with him. Not
Mhm.
sold on Zed yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, oh Zed. I love that guy. I love his lore. I love his model. I love his lore. I love his model.
Right.
He's
Okay.
he's cool.
Right.
He might be getting some love.
Oh,
That could
okay.
be we like our blimp buddy to,
Well, good.
be
Good.
special.
Well,
So
good. Good.
you
Good.
heard it here first, I guess.
There you go.
Um, what most excites you about where the Heroscape competitive scene is headed? And don't just say chain gruts.
Bonding melee. We have lots of options. You've got chain gruts. You've got the the bugs. The sky.
Squirtire,
There
yeah.
you go. That word. Infantry. You got the revenants.
Hmm.
And then you have
Necrotex,
the necrotex. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I am a huge melee bonding fan. I think all of those have legs to go. I think
The Squirtire have a lot of legs.
that's true. They do have a lot of legs, right? And the fact that like you can even use the queen with them, or oathbound, like so, it's
Hmm.
kind of cool to use some of the older stuff with the newer stuff. Even though like maybe the common heroes do work a little bit better in some positions, but I feel like it still works both ways. And then even
Depending
the
on like point
revenants,
and figure limit, I do really like them with the bug ball,
sure.
as a way to, consolidate some of their points in a lower figure limit. It
Hmm.
still punches really hard and you're still getting like 6 or 7 attacks if you've got full bugs on your bug ball
Correct.
plus your commons. So yeah, it's a solid
Yeah,
list.
yeah, yeah. And even like I think the revenants, like I think they're going to struggle in the high defense units, but other than that, like I feel like they're going to there's nice to put Miserex and Killcracks back into action too, because they've just been kind of like, hey guys, don't forget, like they're getting picked last at kickball, and
Yeah.
so I think like the fact that we're going to be able to use them because you know getting that extra bonus attack, they're going to hit really hard, and then if Miserex does die, she can go on Killcracks, and all of a sudden
Mhm.
Killcracks is so yeah, so I like that combo as well, and I think it'll struggle in the high defense units. Like I wouldn't want to take it into elites because elites just survive a lot, but like
Yeah.
against say bugs or like that, I feel like it's going to do really well.
It was one
So
of the armies I enjoyed designing. I like that we were able to give some love to some of those Kyrie from the Kyrie pack, with them and Mielke and Giamara as well. Like get them something new to play with.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been fun to see that combination.
What do you think will be like the top army archetypes next year going into the main event? I know we probably haven't locked down the format by this point, but if we're keeping it in the general
Hmm.
400 to 500 points, 12 to 18 figures, somewhere in there.
Sure.
What would you think would be the tops?
So I think the higher the figure limit, the more bonding melee gets better. So like all those ones we just talked about, I feel like they've got they got a chance. You go lower figure total, I could see the elites. Um, I think Raylan Boiling Tensions, Raylan 4.0, whatever nickname she has now, she's going to be really good in the bonding melee because she can actually swoop twice,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Um, I think you're going to have a lot. I think commons are going to come. Like Gallery will get, the higher the figure limit, the better the Gallery will get.
Yep.
The fact that they can just keep pushing forward and they bring in some hard, heavy hitters with them with the Krakenlings. So I think that's, you got a chance there. And then like I mentioned before, I think Adelburn he might have to pop back out because he's got a lot of commons he needs to kill.
At
So,
the at the other end of things, at a higher point total, lower figure limit, what do you think about a Thorman Heroes pod, maybe with the Kraken?
oh, Thorman's revealed now. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's yeah. I'm not exactly sure what that build looks like in terms of what other figures besides the Kraken to put with him. I'd have to probably play with that a little bit more. But I feel once again, like with the elites, if the figure limit's small enough and he can contend with the commons, I think it's 100% has legs. Um, and I feel like that's going to be the interesting thing to sort out is where you guys decide to put that figure limit, and I mean, and the point total too. But
Right.
because it's like the higher the figure limit, the more commons, the lower the figure limit. Thorman, or even Widow, even Widow
Mm.
can make a splash too because some pirate frost claws, like
Pirate
yeah,
Frost Claws are spicy. Pirate Bugs are
yep,
spicy.
yep,
Um,
seen that quite
there's
a
a lot
bit.
of fun
Yeah,
options with Widow. That'll be cool to see how
yeah.
that develops. We are just about out of time. So if you want to leave a piece of parting advice for competitive Heroscape players or aspiring competitive Heroscape players, what would you like to say to the gang?
I would just say, Heroescape, the Heroescape community is amazing. I've been in it for over 20 years, and there's a reason I'm still around because they're just great people. Find your local tournament. Find the FLGS. I mean, there's locals everywhere. There's locals everywhere. Check out Battle Network. Check out .org. There's tons of places for you to go play. And the people there, you're gonna like them. They're nice people. Like you're gonna say like, oh, this guy was pretty cool. And if you don't have the figures, ask. They'll let you borrow, but get involved. Um, it's a great community. Like I said, I've been doing it for over 2 decades. Um, but yeah, I mean, and the other thing is just like, check out heroscapers.com, check out Renegade's website. There's strategy articles. Go read them. Ask questions. People will answer it. Most of the time those people know what they're talking about, but. But yeah. And then the last thing I would say is play faster.
The Probably the most common Ken quote I've heard at events. Play faster. Not bad advice. Keeps everything running smooth and probably gets you out of your head a bit. Well,
Right.
thank you so much, Ken. This has been a delight, and I'm excited to work with you more on, upcoming tournaments. It's been great.
Sounds great. Appreciate it. Thank you, Dylan.
Sure. Cheers.